बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम, अस्सलाम वालेकुम। सो रमज़ान के ख़त्म के साथ ही हमारी जो सीरीज़ है 30 इयर्स ऑफ लीडरशिप इज़ एक्चुअली अबाउट टू एंड। लेकिन एट द एंड जो मैसेज है ना वो आज का सबसे ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है बिकॉज दिस इज़ द बिगेस्ट लर्निंग दैट आई हैव टेकन फ्रॉम रमज़ान. So the people who are following me, they would know that I have been doing some podcasts last time, and I got the opportunity to meet some such wise and intellectual people. Those has brought a different level of learning to my intellect. So there was a time when I was having a session with Sirajuddin Aziz Saab, who himself is a kind of an academy to a lot of people out there. So, Sirajuddin Aziz Saab has mentioned a point that we always say that leaders are the one who lead. So, every one of us always try to become a leader, but we do not realize that leaders are not there to just guide people. Leaders are not there to just direct people. The good leaders are only the ones who are the good followers. So, I'm very honest with you that at that moment I could not literally grasp that concept, that what is the thought behind that and how we can understand this concept. So I alhamdulillah got the answer again during Ramadan. So that's a wonderful thing that I really want to share with everyone around, and I'm hoping that if you can also grasp that concept, so it will inshallah help us to become more impactful and compassionate leaders. The most critical thing is to be fair and is to be transparent. So now this thing is really interesting. So I got the answer, in fact, on the first act of every Ramadan. What happens when the moon is sighted for the month of Ramadan? What we immediately rush for? We all rush for performing Tarawih. This is the practice, and you would find everywhere. This is a very unique practice that is being carried only during the month of Ramadan when the Imam recites the verses from Holy Quran. There is a Same, the listener, who listens to every word, every ayah of the holy book. The answer is, you know, you would have seen that many a times it happens that the imam is a quite senior person. He's the one quite matured and the one who has a lot of experience of imamat. And you will also find majority of the time that the person who's a listener standing there would be most of the time much younger than the imam. Come to the point. So what happens that, for example, you are performing Tarawih in congregation, you are following your imam. Any fine moment, what happens that your imam forgets the sequence, or it can also happen that he actually jumps over some of the verses and mistakenly reach to another point and starts the recitation of the ayats. Those are not in the right sequence, right? It's in human error because we all know that the imam is actually the one who has actually memorized the holy verses, and he's completely relying on his memory. That's why there's a listener who is standing behind him. What happens when that moment comes in that the imam has forgotten some of the verses or has started reciting some wrong sequence? So the interesting part is that the person standing behind him, who is a listener, regardless of his age, regardless of his less experience, he just immediately corrects that person. He immediately comes with the right ayat or right sequence and says it loudly. At that moment, Imam does not rely on his own memory, but he immediately stops and then start listening to what that listener is telling that person. So this is the point that I wanted to share, that this is the act of leadership. It's not that all the time they are always right. There are a couple of times the leaders forget what is the right approach. It happens that leaders forget what is the right decision. Leaders forget or not able to, for any other reason, able to deliver their leadership. So this is the beautiful lesson that I wanted to share with every one of you. Likewise, the Imam at that moment does not rely on his own wisdom. He at that moment realizing that he is not doing something right, completely rely on the other person who is telling him the right thing. At that moment, the beautification of all this process is that both the persons are not actually talking about their own wisdom, their thought process, their maturity, or their seniority. They do not care about their own attributes or traits. They only rely on the right answer. They do not actually feel that their egos are being hurt. They are only concerned about delivering the right words from the right book and with the right sequence. This is what leaders are supposed to do. It's not leadership doesn't go on the linear scale. It's not that every day, every moment, every time you will be all set to lead. You will be all set to guide others. The most right person, it can happen that the leaders can fail to understand a new concept. And leaders can actually fail to understand a new theory. What is needed, the person who progress in their lives and become the impactful leaders are the ones who, when such situation comes in, they do not only uh, focus within themselves, they would actually consult, they would talk to people, they would take the advice, they would seek the suggestions, they would seek the feedback, they would talk to multiple people, and they would then actually try to reach to the right way of conducting things. So the beautiful message, Alhamdulillah, that I got from this act that we perform every year during the month of Ramadan is that the leaders are the ones who are the good followers. And for every leader, if they want to be successful in their life and they want to create a meaningful impact on others' lives and the environment, are the ones who would only concern to follow the guiding principle. If you are open enough that you can listen to the right point, regardless of the point that what whoever is making that person can be a most junior person of your team, of your organization. If that person is saying a right thing, the good leaders will always follow that. Thank you.